Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony, which today commemorates the 75th anniversary of the sinking of HMAS Nestor. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. We are honoured to acknowledge His Excellency Mr Jean-Luc Bodson, Ambassador, Royal Belgium Embassy, and the accompanying delegation. We welcome representatives of the Naval Association of Australia. We also welcome the veterans who have served, those who are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. Today, Australia's Federation Guard has provided an all-Navy catapult party in honour of the 75th anniversary of the sinking of HMAS Nestor. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, please stand for the national anthem.
Careful party, attention! Careful party, present, out!
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is birth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Careful party, shoulder, out!
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to leading stoker Campbell Bernard Hill. Known to friends and family as Cam, Campbell Hill was born on the 11th of November 1917 in Coolgardie, a small town in Western Australia about 560 kilometres east of Perth. In the 1890s, Coolgardie had been a thriving gold town. After the precious metal began to decrease, however, it became a ghost town. Campbell's parents, Charles and Emily, moved to Perth, settling in the suburb of West Leederville, where Campbell attended the local school. On the 6th of January 1938, a few months after his 21st birthday, Campbell joined the Royal Australian Navy. He underwent initial training as a ship's stoker at HMAS Cerberus, and in late May was posted to HMAS Albatross, which was in the process of being transferred to the Royal Navy. Hill was part of the crew that sailed Albatross to England in July. Once in England, Hill formed part of the inaugural crew of HMAS Hobart when it was commissioned into the RAN in the late September, sailing for Australia shortly after. When the Second World War began, Hobart conducted patrols of Bass Strait before sailing to Singapore, where it spent the following months on patrols and convoy escort duties. In April 1940, Hobart became one of the core vessels in the Royal Navy's Red Sea Force. The ship fired its first shots against the enemy on the 12th of June, when Italian aircraft attacked Aden, a port city in Yemen. After escorting a relief force to Berbera, Hobart acted as headquarters for the evacuation of British Somaliland. Hobart and her crew then returned to Colombo for a refit before sailing to Australia. Hobart remained in Australian and New Zealand waters until June 1941, when the ship was transferred back to the Mediterranean. From July until December, Hobart was part of the Royal Navy's 7th Cruiser Squadron, taking part in shore bombardments at Bardia and Tobruk and operations off Cyprus, Malta and Syria. Despite being subjected to heavy air attacks, Hobart managed to avoid major damage. Hill's tenure with Hobart ended when he was transferred to HMAS Napier in December 1941, 2 days after being promoted to acting leading stoker. After a brief period of service on Napier, in February 1942, Hill was confirmed in the rank of leading stoker and was transferred to Napier's sister ship, HMAS Nestor. In June, Nestor was part of a large escort for the convoy of 11 transport ships heading for Malta. Soon after leaving Alexandria, the convoy came under attack from German and Italian aircraft. In the afternoon of the 15th of June, news was received that a transport convoy had reached Malta. Given the severity of the enemy air attacks and the presence of the Italian fleet, the decision was made to turn around and return to Alexandria. The convoy was southwest of Crete when it came under air attack around 6 p.m. A stick of bombs from an Italian bomber straddled Nestor, and the explosion severely damaged the ship's boiler rooms, killing Campbell Hill and 3 of his crewmates. HMS Javelin took the stricken destroyer in tow, but with Nestor taking on water and going down at the bow, it was decided to scuttle the ship. With the sea as their final resting place, Hill and his 3 crewmates are now commemorated on the Plymouth Naval Memorial in Devon, England. During his service, Hill became engaged to Miss Betty Waddington. A sorrowful entry in the paper quoted her love. Forever I'll remember. Campbell Hill was 24 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among some 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. This is one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember leading stoker Campbell Bernard Hill, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They have no grave but the cruel sea, no flowers lay at their heads. A rusting hulk is their tombstone, a fast on the ocean bed. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Uniform party, present, oath. Uniform party, shoulder, oath.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Uniform party, outwards, turn. Uniform party, quick, march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.